Alright, we need to get going on this story. So this is Ruthless, Rabid, Raging, Ravenous, Rampaging, Remorseless, Repulsive, Revolting, Repugnant Zombies. I can almost say that from memory at this point. So if nothing else, NaNoWriMo has helped me memorize my own book title. Alright, so we need to get down to Chapter 10, which is where we're about to start. But I'm going to jump in just to this small one-page section at the end of Chapter 9 to kind of get me back into the story a little bit. We had a floor collapsing and all kinds of things going on, so just want to get back on that level of energy and then move this story forward as I have planned. Is it the greatest zombie story ever told? I'm trying my best, so let's see what we can do with it. So leaving off yesterday, we said on his next step, the floor gave way under him. He's in an apartment building that doesn't seem terribly stable. He shifted to the side and dodged around the soft spot. The floor broke and fell through some more as he hustled to more solid ground. Okay, I got too many mores in here. The floor broke and fell through, let's say wider. Fell through wider. I'm using a lot of wide and wider too, but not in the same sentence. As he hustled to more solid ground. The zombies behind him widened. Oh, there we go. Every word I change, I have to change the next one down. Expanded the gap as more of the floor broke away. As additional, I'm gonna say flooring. That takes out two of my words, so I'm behind on word count, but that's all right. Trying to get 20,000 today, and I'm at a little over 17,500. So another good 2,500 words today, and I'll be good. Off to Waldo's left, a large break split through and allowed him to see the apartment below. A number of undead eyes turned up to him as let's say as third floor zombies. As third floor zombies fell into the space below. Maybe that would buy him a little breathing room. He ran on as the floor cracked up behind him. Let's say split apart. Split apart behind him. Something large and fragile crashed and shattered. Could have been a light fixture below or something expensive from up here, but he didn't look. As he shoved bodies out of his way to get to the door, a crack in the floor raced out across the center of the room to the next wall faster than Waldo could follow its progress. There it spiderwebbed up and across the walls. Plaster shed in chips and large plates to the misaligned boards underneath. One of the keys to this section is that this apartment's coming apart, and that's going to be significant to some stuff that's coming up. The floor folded down and in on both sides of that crack so quickly that Waldo thought he was hallucinating the whole thing. His feet started to slide toward the open fissure as zombies tumbled through on both sides. The ones staring out the windows and ignoring him finally lost their footing as well. Then the furniture started to slide too. Let me make that as a paragraph by itself. Sometimes having a sentence just standing there in isolation gives it some punch. Waldo pumped his feet backward and turned just in time to dive out of the way of a sliding love seat. He climbed upward on his hands and feet as the slope of the floor grew more severe. Before he could gain much ground, he had to deal with zombies sliding down, let's say, on both sides of him. trying to grab and drag him as they went. He forced himself up to his feet so he could make one last hard run to the door before the entire floor had a chance to fall through under him. He reached the knob and turned it, but then had to swing around on the door as 5 or 6 bodies piled through after him. All right. The hallway floor outside this disaster of an apartment was still level for now, but the zombies outside had fallen through anyway. Okay. A couple got hands on him, but then let's say fell loose with the rest. Let's say a couple got hands on him and tore the front of his shirt in 2 places, but then fell loose with the rest. Eventually that shirt has to come off. He has a pack underneath that's important for something later. Waldo swung back around on the door to exit into the level hallway, but then the knob snapped loose in his hands. He slid several feet but refused to surrender to that chasm. Into the 2nd floor apartment, quickly filling with furniture and hungry undead. Alright. Looking good. I'm already at 17,600 words, and I haven't even made any progress. There were probably enough bodies and cushioned furniture down there to break his fall, but that wasn't a pile. That wasn't a pile he wanted to be a part of. I was going to say pile up, but I don't need the extra word. He took to his feet once more and attempted to charge up the incline. The girl with the braided hair ran by this door as well. "Oh, come on," he grunted. Then the refrigerator tilted over from one direction and a piano crashed through a wall from the other. Hold on a second. All right. From the other side. Okay. Okay, that's what I want. All right. As the loose boards along the far wall came apart, let's say, not came apart, let's just say separated from each other in an explosion of splintered shrapnel. I know shrapnel's usually metal, but it still works here. As the loose boards, I need that to be plural, along the far wall separated from each other in an explosion of splintered, let's say splintering shrapnel. The rest of the plaster broke apart into an irritating wind, let's say, dusty wind. All right. The refrigerator crashed end over end Waldo thought he could dodge around it on his way back up, but the door twisted off its weak hinges and spun through the room like a buzzsaw. Alright. Metal racks. Metal racks. Tupperware. Well, let's just say plasticware. We'll keep it generic. Plasterware. Containers. Full of food, now as hard and heavy as bricks, and pieces, let's say broken pieces of the cooling apparatus. Okay, I should be able to get a closer spelling on that. Let's see how far off I am. All right, let me take another shot at that. Apparatus. There, that's closer. All right, there we go. Thank goodness computers spell for me, or I don't know what I would do. I would put out a bunch of books with misspellings. So metal racks, plasticware, containers full of food, now as hard and heavy as bricks, and broken pieces of the cooling apparatus off the exposed back of the fridge. Flew and bounced in every direction. Waldo was going to get clobbered and swept down below, no matter where he tried to go. He turned away from the exit, say from the only exit, instead, and ran toward that expanding, I'm going to say growing canyon in the floor. On the run, he made a leap and tried his best to run up the slick floor on the other side of the room. Here, the piano finished tearing its way through the wall and spun 3 times on its wheels as it sped down the slope of the great room floor. Alright. Waldo, let's, new paragraph. We got action going on here, so we can do short paragraphs. Waldo turned again and made another leap as the last bits of the refrigerator and its contents Waldo turned again and made another leap as the last bits of the refrigerator and its contents dropped through like a spilled bag of marbles. The appliance boomed against the floor under him as he completed his jump, and the piano tipped over behind him. The stove pulled loose of the wall above, and Waldo ran sideways to clear its path. Okay, now what? When the piano crashed with an off-tune death cry, the entire second floor tore out under it. All that weight of furniture and bodies dropped down through a spreading cloud of dust. It sounded as if the floor below that might have given out too. When the stove fell through, Waldo never heard it land. More of the wall collapsed in front of him. Turning the entire space into a blinding plaster sandstorm. Running blind, but feeling the floor tilt out from under him, Waldo dove through where the wall had been without knowing where he might land. He tumbled a short distance. He tumbled a short distance on flat ground that felt disorienting after running on all those deadly slopes. He blinked and coughed as the dust spread out and he found himself back in the exterior hall. Just a few feet away, he could see the void that dropped through where the floors below used to be. Getting to his feet, he stared down the hall, past the apartments he had fought his way through, bodies littered the entire length of the floor going back that way. Each and every one had suffered some sort of head injury that had put them down where their diseased heads now leaked across the fine floor. Waldo coughed some more and waved his hand at the dust in the air as if it would do any good. Turning around, he saw, now let's say turning around, a different scene played out in the other direction. Okay, I'm going to make that part of that last short paragraph, and then we'll talk about how the scene's playing out on the next paragraph. All right. Okay. I want to add one more detail up here where everything fell. All right, last bit's a refrigerator, piano tip behind him, stove pulled loose, never heard it land. The entire floor took out under it, all that weight of furniture. Sounded as if the floor below that might have given out too. Windows. Windows blew out in a shower of glass on the street outside. There we go. Alright, so furthering the destruction of the building there. Okay, here we go. Okay, we've gotten the stove. Got the bodies in the hallway. Alright, here we go. Ahead at a junction between hallways. There was the girl with the braided hair. He supposed all those bodies down this hall explained why she hadn't moved faster. Now, she swung a blade into the heads of the undead coming at her from 3 directions. 3 directions at that junction. Alright, I'm going to turn off the heater real quick, sorry. I have a little heater in here and it's been cold in the mornings, but now it's warming up a little. This is probably the warmest room in the house right now. Alright. See, their heads came apart before they could grab her. Alright. Bodies piled up around her as the dust from the apartment remodeling spread through the building. Like a haze. No, let's not like a haze, in a haze. In a haze. There we go. Alright, what are we doing next here? A single zombie between Waldo and her had its back to him as it stalked her from behind. Alright. I have a lot of pronouns here, so let's see if they work. A single zombie between Waldo and her had its back to him as it stalked her from behind. I think that works fine. She did not appear to register its presence as she focused on the other 3 passages in front and beside her. Okay, good deal. Alright. Waldo charged and took the stalker by its bony shoulders. The creature tried to turn on him and even snapped at his hands. But Waldo held firm as he started flinging the monster back and forth into the walls over and over. The walls and its head dented. So Waldo flung the creature a bit harder. Okay. Finally, its skull gave way and spilled brains. Let's say spilled cold brains. Cold brains and thick fluid over the back of Waldo's right hand. He let go, and the twice dead body crumpled against the baseboard on one side. Alright, good deal. Waldo succeeds in killing a zombie finally. Good job, Waldo. Did I get everything there? Yeah. Alright. He looked up at her standing there with her gory blade in front of her. After a couple seconds, Waldo felt the dumb grin that he didn't realize was on his face finally melt away. Alright. Alright, let's say blade was unusual. It wasn't a machete, but it was long enough to be one. Wasn't really a short sword. It wasn't really a short sword, but it had a double edge and a point that gleamed sharp even under all that gore and through the dust in this dim hallway. It was too much weapon to be a hunting knife of any hunting knife, let's say, or dagger of any kind. He wanted to ask her about it. But she raised that she raised that dangerous point and took a step toward him. Waldo held up both hands in front of him in a warding, halting gesture. Wait. She couldn't have been much more than 12 years old. "14 at the outside." But he suspected that if she persisted, she'd make shorter work of him than she had all these zombies. Alright. I like that scene. Alright, let's see what else we can do with it. One more step forward for her, and he took one more back, hitting another body with his boot heel. He didn't take his eyes off of her, though. I said, "Wait, please. I helped you." She glanced down at her side at the one zombie Waldo had beaten down between the walls. She looked back up at him with a smirk, like he was making some kind of joke. Didn't need your help. She rolled. Alright, I'm going to make that a new paragraph because I'm going to do a break in the middle of it, and I don't want the dialogue to get lost. Didn't need your help. She rolled her eyes in a way that reminded Waldo very much of the world before the zombies. Okay, what is she gonna say now? You can't even help yourself. You can't even help yourself, leading zombies all through the city. Stirring them up like this. Okay. What's his response to this? That stung. It was mostly true. He had to admit to himself, but it still stung. All right. Hey, he said, then realized he needed something more on the end of that, on the end of that response. Just help me get out of here. He pointed over his shoulder with his thumb and tapped it against the pack under his torn shirt. Alright, I'll say, he says, I have important. Alright, now we're going to put a quotation mark there, and then I'm going to get an M dash, meaning an interruption. I have important. Don't care. She turned away. Hurtled the pile of bodies she'd left on one side of the junction and disappeared to the right. Say down another hall. All right. Waldo hurdled the same pile and followed. It occurred to him that she might wait around one of these corners and stab him as he ran into her blade. If the wound didn't kill him, all that zombie gore along the metal would do the job in time. All right. Feeling good about this. I like how this is coming together. Introducing another character finally. She didn't double back on him, but she kept running to where he could barely keep up. They turned several corners, and he grew disoriented. To where they were in the building. She sprinted sprinted away from the top of a rise of stairs, and he charged up behind her in an effort to keep up. Okay. Chasing her was harder than running from the undead. He rounded the next corner behind her and then skid to a halt. Skid to the halt at the edge of a drop-off where the entire building was separated down the middle, dropping through all the floors into a rubble-filled sub-basement far below. Okay. Let's say staring at that sharp debris below made his stomach weak. Looking back up into her face made him feel even weaker and more ridiculous. Let's see. She rolled her eyes. She rolled her eyes at him again. Of course she did. At least she had sheathed her blade at her side. Instead of pointing it at him. Without a word, she skirted a few inches of jagged floor that clung to the bottom edge of a stone firewall. Doing that, she crossed this chasm and stood on solid floor on the other side. Okay. She stood over there and stared back. At least she didn't ditch him again right away, and Waldo counted that as progress. All right, let me spell progress correctly. He pointed at the narrow strip of floor and opened his mouth, but nothing in the way of words came out. She shrugged at him from across the gap and said, "I'm not carrying you, and I'm not waiting on you. Either come or don't, Boomer." That wasn't his name. He tried to remember if they had exchanged names, but he didn't think so. Okay. Growls rose up behind him as two hordes of zombies merged from the floor and the stairs behind him. He hugged the firewall. With a rough surface, but nowhere to really hold on. Try not to break my wall, she said, as the zombies paced up the hallway behind him. Okay. He expected the floor to... He expected the sliver of floor to snap off under him, or for him to lose his precarious balance and tip down into that long fall. But it was the solid firewall itself that gave way. Okay. The stone cracked. shifted and fell. Waldo wanted to rush the rest of the way across. That surely had to be the right choice. But it was too far. He flailed back the way he came and barely reached the edge of solid floor again before the entire firewall plummeted down into the sub-basement. He saw daylight. No, let's not do that. Daylight spilled through in dusty shafts from where the wall had been. Okay. She shook her head slowly and sighed. He felt his mouth twist up and open away from his teeth in a desperate sneer. Help me, please. Okay. Zombies drew closer behind him, and growls rose from the edges of exposed floors, beneath them, where the undead came out to see what the commotion was all about. The girl turned, and he prepared to watch her go. Maybe he deserved to be left behind after all this. Okay. Moving right along. Going for 20,000. But to his surprise and relief, she grabbed up a thick, wide board from the hallway and fed it across the gap as a bridge. Okay, say Waldo. Waldo knelt and caught hold of the leading edge, bringing more of the board to his side. She pulled back a few inches and said, "Be sure it's even." And hurry the hell up. Try not to F this up too. Waldo always tried not to F up, but he nodded his agreement with her terms anyway. He held out his arms for balance on both sides. He held out his arms for balance on both sides like some sort of performer. He held out his arms for balance on both sides like some sort of performer and took his first steps out over the drop. Okay. Something snapped. It wasn't the board, and it wasn't his side of the floor. The board inclined in her direction, and he saw the jagged ends of the boards over there. I'll say floorboards so we're clear because we got a board that he's walking on. The floorboards over there separating. She reached down for it, down for her end, but the floor snapped through under her hands. They both lurched. They both lurched backward and away from the edges. As Waldo fell to his butt on the floor with his knees bent and his boots dangling over the side. The nice wide board and a few splinters of flooring twirled through the air all the way down to that broken stone floor. I think I hear squirrels messing around outside my office. that broken stone floor so far down. The zombies watching from all those open rooms, below, swayed on the edges. Let me spell swayed correctly. Swayed on the edges and stared up at him with jaws wide open. He lifted his eyes from where he sat and met hers. What now? Okay, let's see what she does. All right, let me have him say this. What now? She let out a little sniff and turned to run. As she bolted away, he watched her go without protest. It wasn't like she hadn't offered him every chance in the world. Today just wasn't his day, he supposed. The zombies filling his hallway were on him. And of course, that's where we do a chapter break. I'm not done writing, but all the people reading this later will want to know what happened after the zombies were on him. Well, of course, he finds a way out of it, wouldn't he? That's what you would hope, anyway. Alright, so chapter 11. Okay. He shifted and prepared to do something. He didn't know what, but something. The items in his pack rattled against each other, and he was reminded this whole thing was bigger than him, and whatever lousy luck he might be having. He shouted out, "Hey, help." She was gone from view, but her voice echoed back. No help for you. Again, whether it was true or not, it stung. With zombies clawing at his back. With zombies clawing at his back, Waldo fought up to his feet and shoved them off of him. Instead of pushing them backward. He pulled them forward, one after the other, on either side, pitching them down into the basement. The hallway started to clear, and he made his way backward, hoping to maybe get to the stairs. No luck. I say no luck. The hallway refilled until a wall of flesh blocked out any view of the stairs beyond. He supposed he had only ever had one option. There was nowhere to go but forward. Waldo turned and charged down the hallway toward the gap. He took great strides, picking up speed along this short runway. He calculated in his head whether he could afford to take the final leap from the very edge of the floor, or if he should jump from a step back. He decided it was a wide jump under the best of circumstances. And now some of the floor on the other side had broken. He had no choice but to go for broke. As he prepared to push off from his final stride, he felt he had built enough momentum to reach the other side standing. He gave it all he had as fingers from some creature lying on the floor, hooked into the laces of his boots. They didn't hold on. They didn't hold on. Not even for more than an instant. But Waldo leapt off balance. He still made it across. Still made it across, but hit that uneven edge of the floor with his chest. Pain shot down through his body like he'd been stung. He tried to hold on and then pull himself up. Hold on, sorry. And then pull himself up. But there was nothing to grip, and the unsure edge of the floor on this side folded away under his weight. Waldo dropped. See, that would be a good place to stop, except I still need a little over 100 more words, so we're going to find out what happened to him when he dropped. Okay. He flailed his arms for anything and caught the leading edge of pipes extending from the walls 1 story under his jump. They bent and screamed. They bent and screamed their metal protest. But still held. Then the 3rd floor zombies on this side started harassing him. In their okay. Yeah, I'm gonna keep this paragraph going. In their enthusiasm, okay, how far is the okay? Chapter 11 just barely started. Okay. Then the 3rd floor zombies on this side started harassing him. In their enthusiasm, they stepped over the edge and dropped out of view. More pressed forward. More pressed forward and stepped right off the side without registering they realized it was there. Waldo tried to hold on as far out as he could to avoid any of those undead idiots, grabbing him and dragging him down with them. No one grabbed, but he got bumped a few times. Waldo tried, I'll say attempted, we already used tried. Waldo attempted to readjust his grip, but then he fell, crying out in his surprise. Okay. Okay. We're at 20,002 words, and I'm going to stop right there. I do know what's going to happen next, but we'll save that business for tomorrow because we have reached our goal. So I'm going to do a quick update and then maybe take a look at some of the work of my buddies here. Okay. So, Ruthless, Rabid, Raging, Ravenous, Rampaging, Remorseless, Repulsive, Revolting, Repugnant zombies. And my total word count is 20,002. I'm happy with that. So updating that progress. And I'm well on pace for a 20-day finish. Alright, now I'm going to give my buddies the benefit of the doubt here, because this is first thing in the morning. Well, not first thing in the morning, but still morning, and especially going across the time zones in America even earlier in the morning. And so I checked everybody's stuff when I finished writing, yesterday, late afternoon, evening. So a few people write at night, and then others had already updated for the day. So it's not really fair for me to check everybody's update and act like it's today, because I am writing at different times because of my Twitch schedule. But I will check out and see where a few folks are. Now, I do come back to my face each time before I go back to the screen, because I only want to show people who have given me permission to show them. We'll take a look here at John Quick. John Quick is writing Beneath the Surface, Horror and Supernatural. Again, he's not following NaNoWriMo exactly. This just happens to be what he's writing at the time. And he's 21,426 words, which I think may have been yesterday's total. So well ahead of pace there. All right, taking a look at a few other guys maybe. What was I going to say? If you're on pace for yesterday, you would be at about 11,667 words, and if you're on pace for today, if we counted today's writing, which most people don't have updated yet, because again, this is morning for a lot of the guys I'm following, you would need to be at 13,334 words. And so I'm going to bring up Tom Duffy here because he and I spoke yesterday after stream, and his goal was to reach 20,000 words, and he had been writing through the day and had gotten to about 18,000 and some change by the time we finished. And then, like, I think it may have been right before midnight, he might have texted me, or it may have been this morning, I don't remember, had gotten to 20,421 words yesterday. So almost double the pace to finish in the 30-day time period, and he hasn't even put in today's words. So way ahead of pace, and that's really the way to do it. Get ahead and stay ahead. All right, I'm going to check a couple other guys and make sure that I don't show anyone that's still working. All right, Ryan Pelton is at 19,710 words, and again, that's yesterday. He writes at night, so this is an update since last time I checked, but it's for yesterday, so he is well ahead of pace. Basically, I got to where he is today, and he got to where I am when he already got there yesterday, so he's going to be doing quite well on this, and he's writing this for another project that actually has a degree involved, so very proud of him for that. All right, we may check a couple more people, but I'm not gonna drop in on folks that are still writing. All right, we'll take a look at Armand. Armand's not done, but he has updated at least once, it looks like. So he was at 17,000 and some change yesterday. He's at 18,000 and some change now, and I believe he did that just now, like while we were on stream. He did that and updated once. So I'm certain he's not done for the day, and I know he's not because at 1 o'clock today, 1 o'clock Eastern time, he's going on Twitch stream himself and will be writing live, and so you can join in there. He'll kind of be writing. He'll stop to answer questions and stuff, but just kind of working on his novel there as you guys watch. So I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be one of my next activities today. So very good job, Armand. Already cruising right along, and the day isn't even over yet. All right, check on a couple more folks. Most people are where they were when I checked yesterday because they haven't gotten today's writing in, and so don't want to jump on them before they have a chance. I'll do one more look there. Okay, so I'll go back to my profile, and then I'm going to bring up something else. All right. I want to take a look at the website Godless, and we're looking at the hauntingly beautiful eyes of Lucas Milliron there. Godless is a site that Godless.com is a distribution site, so there's a good bit of horror and extreme horror on there, but any authors can distribute their ebooks on there. Has a good loyal audience, and I've had some good sales on there. So some of the buddies that are doing NaNoWriMo kind of wanted to look at the books that are over here because some of them are exclusive. Lucas has some titles that are very interesting, and he's doing quite well with them. He just released last month Lost Words in a Dream, short stories, and he's done a good bit of work on short stories over the years, so this is an interesting collection that shows a range of his talent. Mutants of Mugwump is a co-written story with 5 different authors. This includes, do we have the 5 authors here? Yeah, Frank Edler, Armand Rosamalia, Aaron Lewis, Lucas Milliron, and Jay Wilburn. I was the one that got the pleasure of closing that off. This is a crazy, wild, gross story that I don't want to say it went off the rails, but if you're want for a description, that's pretty close. And if you're into something crazy like that, it's gotten 1 or 2 solid reviews, and so you can check that out from all of us. Lucas Milliron is also in Gorefest, and this is if you can go to Amazon and get this, but this is like the special editor's choice edition where there's notes in the margins and stuff, and of course this is ebook exclusively. But Lucas is in this one along with Armand Rosamalia, myself, Wrath James White, and a number of other very accomplished horror and extreme horror authors. All right, so let's take a look at Armand Rosamalia's work on here. All right. See if I can grab him up. All right, here's Armand Rosamilia. That was a lot of his books, but we'll check him out on here. Death Metal was an older release that has been out of print for quite a while, and now it is available here, and several people have enjoyed that very much, as they should, because it was a great book. Toolshed was the same thing, so this is a book that hasn't been available for a long time, was out there earlier in his career, and Armand has released it again on here as an ebook exclusive to Godless, so I'm looking forward to reading those again soon. Shockbox is the box set of the Shocker series, 3 books by Armand Rosamilia and Frank Edler, and this came out last month. You can still get the books, either paperback or ebook, from Amazon, but this special edition box set is available exclusively on Godless. So if you're looking for more craziness, you can get there. Anybody that co-writes with Armand Rosamilia is going to see some craziness. And then, of course, he has links to his other Amazon books here as well, so you can find your way to those. Room 138 is through Madness Heart Press, and Madness Heart is offering special deals here on the Godless site, so you can get the ebooks there as well. And a number of great stories, even ones that I didn't help him co-write. All right, so let's look at myself here. I know it's a little self-serving, but I'm sure you won't mind terribly. All right, jumping to my pretty face there. Curse of the Rat Man has done very well on here. It's a novella, and it's available exclusively as an ebook here on Godless. Sort of a different type of monster and a family curse that chases the family back to their home, or they have to fight this thing off if they want to survive and escape this awfulness. All right. Seersucker MFer is here, and this story was nominated for a Splatterpunk Award, so it's some of the best of the gross that was out there that year. 2 families are feuding over an unfortunate death, and it's not going to stop until one is wiped off the earth. So you kind of get to see the worst afternoon in the lives of these families and this town, and a lot of people have enjoyed that. I'm particularly proud of it. This is another one I'm proud of, and I hope a lot of people will pick up here for the holidays. 10 Christmases in Sleepy Hollow by Jay Wilburn. And what it is a novella length. There are 10 chapters, and every chapter explores one other possibility for the Headless Horseman. So in a sense, each one can be looked at as a short story, but that they kind of interconnect and overlap and lead towards sort of a climax in the final story. So it's an idea of, okay, what if it was this person, this explanation, that explanation? And the stories range from kind of humorous to very splattery and violent, and there's just about everything in between. So you kind of get, ghost stories and monster stories and all sorts of things that can explain what happened with the Headless Horseman. I'm particularly proud of this one, and I really want more people to read it. So if you're interested in 10 Christmases in Sleepy Hollow, check over to Godless and get that, or you can go to the About section on my Twitch channel, and you'll find these covers there. You click on any one, it'll take you straight to them.